It was Monday morning, and we were sitting at the kitchen table. We finished breakfast, and I drank my coffee and read the morning paper. My wife, Bea, said, "Could you put down the newspaper, Rob? I need to talk to you." I put the newspaper on the table. "I'm leaving you, Rob. I want to get a divorce." "And that's all?" I picked up the newspaper again and started reading the sports section. "I'm serious, Rob." I ignored her, and she became agitated. "Damn it, Rob, put this one down. Damn newspaper, and talk to me." "About what?" "I have nothing to say except goodbye. It's not such a big loss. In any case, you've been worthless as a wife for over a year now. So go ahead." I put down the newspaper, stood up, and went to the room I was using as my home office. I grabbed a notepad and pen from my desk and pulled out an envelope from one of the drawers. I returned to the kitchen table, sat down, and wrote on the top sheet of my notepad, "Volume. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank God that she is leaving me." I was about to put it in the envelope, but then a thought came to my mind. I took one of the lottery tickets I had bought the night before from my wallet and put it in the envelope. I then added to my note, "Maybe if you get lucky and win, that will be enough for the cheater to be happy with you, and she won't go out and cheat anymore. Good luck, dude. You'll need it." I signed, "Very Grateful Rob." I folded the sheet, put it in an envelope, sealed it, wrote the address, and handed it to Beatrice. "When you see him, give this to him." She took and shocked with an expression on her face. She said, "You know, just because you think I'm ignorant doesn't mean I really am." "Perhaps," I said, taking the envelope from her. "I'll send it by mail." "I don't believe you won't open it, read it, and then throw it away. Now why don't you go and pack your things and get out of here? Damn mother out of my life. And since you are about to leave, you need to get out of the house as soon as possible. I'm sure I won't leave. There's no way I'm leaving here just so you can settle your lover here." I got up, poured coffee into a travel mug, topped it up, and headed to work. On the way, I stopped at the bank, closed our savings and checking accounts, and took out the contents of our safe. Then I went to a bank closer to work and opened new accounts in my name only. Next, I called and canceled all of our joint credit cards and arranged for new cards in my name only. And after that, I went about my day job. I stuck around after work for dinner and drinks with my executive assistant and told her I was back on the market if her sister was still interested. Stella laughed and said, "Tolene, my sister. If you're free again, I want to be first in line." Stella started with me as a secretary 10 years ago and proved so valuable that 4 years ago I promoted her to assistant. And then, to justify the promotion I felt she deserved, I made her my executive assistant. 2 years ago on Sunday, I had a barbecue in my backyard and invited Stella. She told me that she couldn't come because her sister was in town visiting, and I suggested that she take her sister with her. Her sister Tara was a sexy-looking and very busty blonde, and on Monday, Stella laughingly told me that Tara had a crush on me. I laughed and told her never to tell Bea about this because Bea could be, and sometimes was, insanely jealous. And now Stella is telling me she's interested in me? I never had any idea that there could be similar thoughts. "Okay," I said jokingly. "Then Tara moves to second place and you can take first." "I'm not joking at all, boss. I'm fucking seriously. I want to try." "Stella, but you may not agree when you hear what I have to offer." "What exactly?" "Bea told me she wants a divorce, so I'm leaving it up to her and her lover, and I have no idea what their schedule might be." "Her lover?" "She slept with a guy about 1.5 years ago, and I think she finally decided that a couple of days a week with him wasn't enough, so she decided to go full-time." "How long have you known?" 1.5 years. I knew this almost from the day it started. How did it happen?" "My friend saw her enter the motel room with a man and called me. I assigned a private investigator to Bea for a week, and he got me everything I needed to know. 1.5 years, and you haven't done anything about it? What was to be done? Get angry about it and turn my life upside down? This state offers no-fault divorce. Everything would have to be split in half, and I would have to sell the house and split the proceeds with her. I would have to give up my pool, my hot tub, my woodworking shop, and my 3-car garage and move into an apartment somewhere. No thanks." I decided to just ignore it and let her cook for me, do my laundry, and clean the house. How could you be near her, knowing that she was cheating on you? You'd be surprised how quickly love can turn into hate, and then hatred turns into indifference. I can't believe that a healthy guy like you could go a year and a half without sex. Why no sex? While B offered, I took, and she continued. Although the frequency decreased somewhat. I didn't touch her on the days I knew she was with him. But other than that, the only change was that I stopped making love and started just having sex. Do you have any idea why she did it? I have no idea, but he probably wasn't the first. Do you think she had other lovers? I can't know for sure, but what I do know is that in the 10 years that we've been married, she's gotten into a certain mood 4 times that I can remember. 4 times she behaved the way she had been acting for the last year and a half since she got involved with this guy. This is just a guess on my part, but I would almost bet that the other times it was for the same reason. If she hadn't been seen and I hadn't been warned, I would take the recent mood as just another one of those girly things. I may be wrong in my thinking, but it doesn't really matter. I certainly know about this betrayal, and that's all I need to know to understand that it is a traitor. What are you going to do now? Wait, what? See what she's going to do. Now she is on her own. I cleaned out her bank accounts, canceled all her credit cards, and told her to get out of the house. She wanted a divorce, so I'm leaving it up to her. Since she doesn't earn enough to support herself and still be able to pay a lawyer, she will have to get money for a lawyer from her lover, and I don't know if he will give it to her. I'm guessing they discussed it before she hit me with it, but I have no way of knowing. What I'm saying is that if you're really interested in me, you'll be involved with a married man who has no idea how long it will be before he will get divorced. You're thinking wrong, Rob. Like this? If she files for divorce, she controls everything. You will be served, and it can be bad. You have no idea what she can do. They may order the house to be vacated and left to her pending a hearing. What if she files a report and says it's due to mental and physical abuse and gets a restraining order keeping you away from her and the house? You have to set the pace, boss. You should be in the driver's seat. Make her react, not the other way around. Besides, you will help me a lot. Shall I help you? How? If you're going to wait and let her apply, what if she doesn't? What if her lover doesn't give her money for this? This will put us in a position of adultery, and she can use it against you somewhere in the future. You say she cheated, and she says so what? You too. If you reserve a statement, you state that from your point of view, the marriage is over, and what you do from now on does not concern her. From a strictly legal standpoint, you will still be legally married until the divorce is final, and the affair with me will still technically be considered adultery. But no court will use this against you unless it begins before you filed for divorce from B. So, I guess I need to stay away from you until you or B-Start act according to the law. If we wait for her, it may take years, or maybe only a week, but under her control. If you submit the documents, you can meet with the lawyer early tomorrow and serve. They were by Thursday, and that will give me the weekend to work on hooking you up. Pick me up? I'm being damn honest, boss. What good is being first on the list if you don't take advantage of it? She was right and I knew it, so I took out my cell phone and used a speed dial to call Josh. Josh and I had been friends since 3rd grade, and Josh was an attorney who practiced family law. Family law was a polite term for divorce law. When he responded, I told him that I needed his legal services, and I told him my problem. He was sorry to hear this because he and his wife Sally were friends of ours, and he liked Bia, but he told me he would take care of it as soon as he got to his office in the morning, and then asked me to come see him at lunchtime. I can sign the papers, and we can go to lunch. Then, just to be an asshole, I told him I wanted a restraining order. I lied and told him that B told me that if I caused her any problems because she left me, she would make sure that her lover, Tom Noble, set my mind straight. Josh laughed and told me that he knew it was pure horse shit, but that he would do it. You know there will be a hearing on this order within 10 days, right? I can get it and serve it, but there must be a hearing before the judge orders it to stand. I know, and I'm ready for it. But right now, the main thing is to get her out of the house and keep her away for a while. We don't have kids, so there's no real reason for her to use the house while the divorce is ongoing. I adhere to the principle of ownership of a gun is ownership of the law. There's no reason for the judge to order me to come out and let her in. That's what I'm aiming for. I told her to get out when we talked this morning, but I don't know what I'll see when I get home. She may leave, or she may be there. Since I don't know for sure where it will be, I plan to service it at work. There's no chance that you and her will agree on anything? None. Then I'll see you tomorrow. I disconnected, looked across the table at Stella and asked, "What have you planned for me this weekend?" She laid out her ideas, and they seemed pretty good to me. When I returned home, Bella, I was sitting in the kitchen at the table and sorting through some papers. "Why are you still here?" I asked, going to the refrigerator and taking out a beer. "This is my home, too. I will remain here until I can make other arrangements. If you object to my company, feel free to move out." "And let you bring your lover here?" "Not for anything in your fucking life. Sit down and discuss what we are going to do." "We have nothing to discuss. I know what I'm going to do, and I don't care what you're going to do. There are things that need to be worked out, Rob." "No, Beatrice, there are no such questions. It's simple. You said you want a divorce, so go get it. You should hire a lawyer. You must file the paperwork and pay all legal fees. What I will do is fight you tooth and nail for every little thing. We live in a no-fault state. Everything is divided in half, so you have to make decisions about who gets what as their half. I'll stall for time so your lawyer's fees keep going up and up. You know they don't work for free, right? Do you want a coffee table? Well, you know what? I also want this. Do you want a sofa? I'm so sorry, Bea. It has a lot of sentimental value to me, and I just have to have it." "Why suddenly? You don't care about all this. You didn't even show emotion when I told you I wanted a divorce. All you did was tell me to pack my things and get out." That was before I had time to think about it. I looked into her eyes and took a chance. "I let you get away with it the first 3 times because you didn't want a divorce. I loved you enough to be silent and hold you because you still came back to me." She turned away from me when I said, "The first 3 times," which, as far as I could tell, confirmed what I suspected. "Now it's hard for me to say why I stayed with you, but I didn't get divorced. I thought maybe I did something that really angered you and you felt like you had to do it to get back at me. Eventually, you stopped your affairs, and I foolishly thought it was because you realized you loved me, and that's why you came back to me. I looked down at the floor, and yes, there was already shit on my shoes. I thought this noble thing was something of a repeat of previous cases. But now, I see that I was wrong. I have come to understand that you are nothing more than a vile traitor, a fallen woman, and if you hadn't decided to leave me for Noble and broke things off with him, you would have been cheating with some other asshole in 6 months or a year. After thinking about it, I decided that I had to take revenge somehow. What I really want to do is take a thick belt and beat you with it so hard that your skin breaks and you bleed on the floor, but that will only send me to jail. The only thing I can do to avoid going to jail is to make divorce as difficult and expensive as possible for you. You're right. This is also your home, and if you choose to stay, I must allow you to be here. But I don't have to like it, and I don't have to communicate with you. Move your shit in one of the spare bedrooms and stay away from me." I finished my beer and then went up to what used to be our bedroom and got ready for bed. I thought I accomplished what I set out to do. I gave her something to think about, and she needed to discuss everything with Noble and make decisions. And that would take time. The time Josh uses to serve Bea and get a restraining order. I could be wrong. It's possible that Bea has already met with a lawyer, and the paperwork may already be on its way to me. But that's unlikely. I took the deposit balances when I canceled the credit cards, and they were about what I expected them to be, and when I took the cash out of the bank, they were also about what they should be. If Bea had gone to a lawyer, she would have used our money to pay him. Of course, Noble could pay the bill. All I could do was wait and hope that Josh took over first. I got up and left the house before Bea came out of her bedroom. I came in, had breakfast at the B&B, and, while sipping coffee, made a list of who to call once Bea was served. I wasn't going to let her make me the bad guy. I will tell everyone about the divorce and explain to everyone why this is so. At work, Stella told me that she was really looking forward to the weekend, and I found myself hoping that would happen. I met Josh for lunch and signed the papers. He said that after lunch, he would go to the city district building and submit an application. Do you still want her served at work? Damn right, that's right. I think it will be around 10 tomorrow. Call me as soon as possible. I want the locks on the house changed before she can get home. I returned to work and arranged for my next day off. Before leaving the office, I called the locksmith and arranged for quick service the next day. It cost me a little more, but I felt it was worth it. When I got home, Bee's car was in the driveway, but she must have decided to stay in her room and stay out of my way because I never saw her. I got up and left the house before Bee came downstairs and went to the B&B for breakfast. Angie asked me where Bra was. I've always seen you together, and now you've been here without her for 2 days in a row. You won't see us together again. We divide the blanket in half. I see, she said, taking my order. When she put the bill on the table, she said, my phone number is on the back, not the restaurant number, my number. I lost my voice when Angie left. 2 women in 2 days let me know they were interested, so why wasn't I enough for the woman I married? I'll never know because I'll never ask. I drank coffee and read the morning paper, waiting for Bee to leave for work, and then I went home and started packing up Bee's things and moving them into the garage. At 10:15, Josh called me and said that the documents had been delivered, so I called a locksmith, and 20 minutes later he was doing his job. Less than an hour later, Bee came barreling into the driveway. She couldn't help but notice the wide-open garage door and a large cardboard sign that said, Bee, all your stuff is here in the garage. She stood there staring at the sign for a minute and then tried to enter the house. But of course her keys didn't work. She rang the doorbell, but I didn't answer, and she eventually left. I looked into the garage and saw that she had taken a couple of bags with her things. 2 minutes after she pulled out of the driveway, my cell phone rang and it was Bee. Hello? You're an asshole. Did you have to embarrass me in front of my colleagues? It's better than letting you embarrass me in front of my people. What the hell is this restraining order crap? I was afraid that you would ask Noble to come and kill me for being rude to you. This is bullshit and you know it. I need to get into the house and pick up some things. All your stuff is in the garage bay, and I didn't change the garage door code, so your opener will work. If what you need isn't there, make a list and tell me where it is, and I'll move it to the garage. Stop fooling around, Rob. You're making this a lot harder than it needs to be. Sorry, Bee. Causing you some inconvenience is not adequate retribution for the years you bullied me, but I have to do something, if only for the sake of my mental health. Just be grateful that I didn't become cruel. Goodbye, Bea. After I disconnected from Bee, I got on the phone and started calling all the names on my list. Most were shocked to learn that Bee had cheated on me, but 2 weren't surprised. One said, finally got her, huh? And another said, I always had this idea that you had one of those open marriage things. She was always seeing some guy and you never did anything. Didn't talk about it. I thought I could cross these 2 off my friends list. Bea's parents were the most affected by this information and tried to tell me that I must be mistaken. I always liked them, and they treated me almost like the son they never had, but I wasn't going to let Bea tell them and make it all my fault. If I let that happen, they would think badly of me, and I didn't want that. Having resolved the issues with the calls, I walked around the house again looking for Bea's things, and then prepared myself lunch. I had just finished eating when the guys from Apex Security showed up. Not trusting Bea in the slightest, and having absolutely no doubt that she would break the restraining order and try to break into the house, I decided to install a security system complete with cameras in the house. On Thursday at work, I told Stella that we were ready to go away for the weekend. She smiled. Then tomorrow evening dinner and dancing to start. I smiled when I returned home. Bea did exactly what I expected. She took some of her belongings and then entered the house through an adjacent door from the garage. She trashed the kitchen. There were plates and glasses all over the floor, and she broke several lamps in the living room. The cameras caught it all. What made me smile was the picture of her taking all my clothes out of the closet and throwing them away on the floor, and then squatting over her and urinating on her. All this is recorded and shows that she not only violated the injunction, but also behaved in a maliciously destructive manner. Evidence I could use at the injunction hearing. I called John, and he called the police. The police arrived, filed a report, and took some photographs, and the next day Bia was arrested at work and sent to prison. She was fingerprinted, photographed, and seated before a judge. She was charged with violating a restraining order and malicious destruction of private property. The judge set a hearing date and released Bia on her own recognizance, and, to be honest, I was surprised it went this far. My date with Stella was fun, and we made a second date for Saturday. Everything went well, too, and on Sunday, we went on a picnic again. There was a hearing on the injunction on Monday, and when the judge saw the security camera footage, he not only made the injunction permanent, but also ordered B to replace all the items destroyed, pay for the dry cleaning of my clothes, and pay for cleaning the bedroom. He gave her 10 days to do this, or she would go to jail for contempt of court. Just to be an asshole, I hired the most expensive cleaning company I could find to do the job. B disappointed me. She actually got the money to do everything the judge ordered. I never saw her jailed for contempt of court. The next 2 weeks passed, and Stella and I met often, but nothing else happened except a few kisses, sometimes quite intense, because neither of us felt comfortable with the fact that I was a married man, but we were slowly approaching the moment when things took a serious turn. B did not resist the divorce, and 6 months later, it was final. It was a standard, no-fault divorce, where everything was divided equally. I refinanced the house and bought out B's share. I saved money for a separate check to pay for a surprise trip around the world to celebrate our anniversary. And since she didn't know it, I didn't give her a dime. She also didn't know about the last 2 certificates of deposit I had put in the safe. I bought them with my last 2 bonus checks. I had another small victory. Bae was given alimony for 2 years or until she remarried, but it was only set at $100 a week instead of the $500 she was trying to get. This was unexpected, and Josh told me that it was because we were very lucky with the judges who were assigned to my cases. The judge who attended the restraining order hearing and the judge who oversaw the divorce were not only cousins who were apparently discussing their affairs, but they both had cheating wives in their pasts. Neither of them believed that an innocent husband should be punished for the behavior of a cheating wife, and although they followed the law, they did not go one step further than prescribed. Whatever B had with Noble apparently wasn't that great, because 7 months after the divorce was final, she was living with her parents. 8 months after the divorce became final, I was sitting at a bar in the Hilton, drinking beer and eating a steak sandwich for lunch, when someone sat down on the stool next to me and a voice asked, "Can I buy you a beer?" I looked back and saw my ex-wife's ex-lover. "I want to exchange a few words with you," he said. Out of curiosity, I suggested that he continue, and he waved to Agnes and ordered both of us a beer. She brought them over and he took a sip, setting the glass down on the counter and staring at it for a few seconds before beginning to remove the label from the first bottle. When the small pile in front of him grew, he said, "I didn't want to screw it up because of you." Without taking his eyes off the bottle, he continued, "The night I met her, she wasn't wearing any wedding rings, so I didn't know she was married, and she definitely didn't act like a married woman. She was at Bud's with a group of girls she worked with, and I asked her to dance, and she said yes. I bought her a drink and she invited me to sit with her and the other girls. I danced with her 3 more times and asked her out, and she said yes. I fell head over heels in love with her, and within a month we were having sex, whenever we could get together. When we started, we had to use motels because I shared an apartment with 2 roommates, and one of them was always nearby. We couldn't use her apartment because she said she lived with her disabled mother. This was also the reason why we could not see each other more often. She supposedly had to take care of her mother and could only go out when someone else was available to look after dear old mother. I finally got my own apartment so we didn't have to use it anymore. Motels. And although our meetings were irregular, I fell in love with her and was going to ask her to marry me. I was going to buy a house big enough for me and her mother, But before I could ask the question, a guy I knew asked me why I was sleeping with someone else's cheating wife. I was ready to kick his ass when he told me that Bae was married and cheated on her husband, and that this wasn't the first time. It looks like she cheated on you with his brother 2 years ago. When his brother found out that she was married, he broke up with her. It was hard for me to believe it, but then I received your letter. I sat on it for a week, and then I came face to face with her, and she burst into tears. She didn't love you. It turns out you were a cruel drunkard, beat her physically, and abused her mentally. She hated you but was afraid to leave you because you told her that if she ever did that, you would hunt her down and kill her. Her and who she was with. By that time, I had checked some things and realized that Shali's and all thoughts of marrying her disappeared, but she was a good pussy, and you kicked her out at that time, so I let her move in with me. As long as she was ready to sleep with me, everything was fine. But when the divorce was final, and she started talking about marriage, I shot her down. My parents separated because my mother cheated on my father. She got custody of me and later remarried, and then she was caught cheating on her second husband. She remarried for the 3rd time and cheated again. Firmly, I believe in the saying that once a cheater always remains a traitor, and I told B about it. I told her that as long as she was good about the live with benefits as friends relationship, we were fine, but nothing more. About 3 weeks after that, I came home from work, and she was gone. He took another sip of beer and said, "Rumor has it that you knew all along that she and I were doing this. Why did you let this continue and didn't divorce her right away? You said it yourself. She was one hell of a good pussy. I decided to line all this. I'll leave everything alone, and I'll have a pussy, and there'll be someone to cook, clean the house, and do the laundry. Probably everything would have continued to be the same if she had not told me that she was leaving me and wanted to get a divorce." He took another sip and then said, "I never thought I'd say this, especially not to you, but I miss her in my bed." He finished his beer, stood up, took something out of his pocket, put it on the counter, and pushed it towards me. "What is this?" "That lottery ticket you gave me. He's a winner. This is your half. I waited before giving it to you so you wouldn't have to give her half in the divorce. See you." And he left. I looked at the piece of paper. It was a cashier's check for a large amount. A very, very large amount. When I returned to the office, Jean, my assistant, said, "You look like a cat that just ate a canary. Was lunch that good?" Lunch was impressive. "Oh, that's right. John, my assistant. Stella no longer worked for me, at least not in the office. She was at home painting the room that would become the nursery when the twins arrived. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.